I'm about this close from creating a t-shirt that says best is relative. And then maybe on the back saying better is relative. And, I've been saying this for God knows how long. I don't even know if God knows how long I've been saying it. He should. He's omnipotent. So, we've got a question to throw out there. And we've written this in conjunction with the video that I'm recording right now. What kind of printer would be best for you? And I've owned a lot of printers over the years. In fact, I have a couple extra printers that I probably don't even need anymore. There are a lot of features in printers these days that I think would make compelling upgrades from what you're using right now. The first printer I remember getting this was years ago. Actually, I'd never owned myself a dot matrix printer. That was my impression of a dot matrix printer. Some of you never knew that sound. You'd have to go to YouTube to look for what printers used to sound like. The first printer I owned myself was what they called a bubble jet. And it was nice, but I was so frustrated because, not only was the ink pricey, but inevitably I would end up printing the page out several times over because the registration was always off. Like, I would print out a page and the font would be jaggy and not very high quality, and I tried higher quality paper and still that didn't help. It was a good enough printer for the time, but ultimately I decided, I want a quality printout, and so I purchased my first laser printer for about $300, $400 and used it for a number of years. It was actually a feed, it was a scanner, not a flatbed, but a feed scanner, and also just a black toner driven printer. No color printing, and I was willing to sacrifice it because I didn't really print out a lot of photos. My needs were primarily text. I'd print out an email or a document. I just wanted it to be clean the first time out. And generally speaking, that served me well for a number of years, and I stuck with laser printers as primary printers up until really this past year when I swapped out for a higher quality ink-based printer, namely because there were certain features that it had that I used. An auto document feeder, flatbed scanner for when I need to scan those documents. Didn't use a lot of ink, and still it was a high enough quality output that I didn't have to reprint things. It worked really, really well. The ink, by and large, pretty affordable, especially when I need to get new ink. That's when you realize, oh my God, I spent way too much on ink in this printer. And I'm not a big believer in refilling inks like the cartridges. That's sloppy, and to me, I just buy a new one and pick a printer that doesn't cost a lot, and the ink doesn't cost a lot when you need to refill it. But I think the printer feature that I wanted most was the wireless capability. And even though the software is not fully compatible with everything that I need it for instance, the iOS platform, if you have a compatible printer on your network, can allow you to print wirelessly from any supporting app. Unfortunately, HP, Epson, and the lot haven't played catch up. They still rely on their own software on iOS to print things to wirelessly. Kind of sucks, but I can print wirelessly from my desktop computers with a great degree of ease. It networks through the wireless network and does everything I need it to do, and I don't have to have it connected by way of USB or tethered to any particular machine, or even connected directly to the network by way of a cable. It's a wireless printer. And I got to tell you, once you go with a wireless printer, it's kind of hard to turn back. You may send a lot of data, to the printer. What depends on what your use case is, right? Remember what I said at the top of the video: better and best is relative. But you may need some help in winnowing down the variety of options that are out there and answering the question for you: what kind of printer would be best for you? And maybe you don't know yet. And that's probably a scarier thought if you've never had a printer. This guide, this outline that we've compiled for you on LockerGnome.com, the link is in the description, should help break it down to help you decide, should you go with an ink-driven printer, something that is a laser printer. And laser printers these days, you'd think, oh, they're expensive. They are more expensive than ink printers, but they're not that much more. And you can get color, and they're fast. In many ways, energy efficient, far more than they used to be when I bought my first laser printer. And I still love the quality of a laser printout. Oh, it's sharp. But of course, if you do a lot of photos, probably not going to go with a laser printer. But if you just do a lot of text and intermittently, maybe you would go with a laser printer. There's a lot of decisions you have to go through to find what's best for you. And, you know, like I said, I think you'd be very good or in a better position, I should say, if you do your research before you just buy what someone at the store tells you is best for you. You know what's best for you. Take advantage of the information that we continue to provide for you on LockerGnome.com. If you have similar questions, feel free to ask, and we may... That's not how you... My dog just asked me in Morse code. Can anyone translate that?